Netflix buried a Disney deal worth over $4 billion that would have kept the entire Star Wars universe off Disney Plus forever. And the reason Bob Iger killed it is something both companies have spent years making sure you never piece together. You've heard the clean version of this story. Disney launched Disney Plus in November 2019, pulled its content from Netflix, and the rest is streaming history. Inevitable, corporate destiny. Except that's not what happened. What happened is that in early 2018, Netflix flew to Burbank with an offer so large that Disney's own finance team called it unprecedented in the history of content licensing. The deal was drafted. The lawyers were involved. And then it died not because the money was wrong, but because of something far more specific, far more personal, and far more damaging to admit. The real reason they killed it is worse than you think. To understand what was on the table, you have to go back to 2012, when Disney signed an exclusive pay-TV output deal with Netflix. That agreement made Netflix the first-run streaming home for Disney theatrical releases, Marvel, Pixar, Disney Animation, all of it. It was worth an estimated $300 million a year. At the time, that was a record. Disney was satisfied, Netflix was ecstatic, and for 5 years it worked exactly as both sides planned. Then the data started coming in, and it changed everything. By 2016, internal metrics at Disney, some of which surfaced in later investor presentations, showed that Disney content was driving an estimated 26% of Netflix subscriber signups. 26%. One studio. The Avengers, Mona, The Force Awakens, all cycling through Netflix's library while Disney collected its licensing check and Netflix collected behavioral data that told them exactly how the world watched. Disney IP wasn't just popular on Netflix. It was foundational to what Netflix was. So in late 2017, Netflix CEO Reed Hastings authorized an expansion proposal, not a renewal, a transformation. The offer included exclusive streaming rights to original Star Wars series, before any of those projects had been announced publicly, plus a first-look deal on Marvel Television and a co-production arrangement that would have put Netflix capital directly into Disney's live-action pipeline. The number was $4.3 billion over 5 years. Netflix said yes to its own proposal. They put it in writing. Remember that signed term sheet? Here's exactly where it died. Bob Iger had been in private conversations with BAM Tech, the streaming technology firm spun out of Major League Baseball Advanced Media, since 2016. Disney bought a controlling stake in BAM Tech in August 2017 for $1.5 billion. What the press reported as a technology acquisition was actually a declaration of war. Iger had already decided to build a direct-to-consumer platform. He just hadn't told anyone outside the boardroom yet. When Netflix arrived in Burbank in January 2018 carrying that $4 billion framework, Iger let the meeting happen. He let his team review every page. And then Disney returned a counteroffer that was specifically engineered to collapse. The revised terms buried inside it, content control clauses, algorithmic data sharing requirements, theatrical window provisions, were conditions Netflix could not legally accept under its existing studio agreements. It wasn't a negotiation. It was a withdrawal dressed up as a counteroffer. Here's the part they really buried. Netflix didn't lose this deal because their number was too small. They lost it because their number was too large. A $4.3 billion licensing agreement would have been the most valuable content deal in Hollywood history. A matter of public record, filed with the SEC, reported by every trade outlet on the planet. And that number would have proved in cold hard dollars that Disney's content was worth more on someone else's platform than it could ever be on Disney's own. Iger could not allow that case to be made. It would have undermined the entire financial justification for Disney Plus before a single subscriber ever signed up. So the deal was buried, not leaked, not reported, just gone. What we lost was a version of the streaming wars that never happened. A world where Star Wars and Marvel stayed on Netflix, where Disney Plus launched as a catalog vault for families rather than a flagship competitor, and where the market didn't immediately shatter into a dozen walled gardens, each holding their own IP hostage behind another monthly bill. The shows that were in early development for a Netflix Star Wars slate, projects that existed in pitch form before The Mandalorian had a name, were quietly redirected. Some became what you know. Some became nothing at all. What you were never supposed to piece together is that the streaming war almost didn't happen. That one number on one term sheet nearly changed the entire architecture of how you watch television today. And that the man who killed it did so not because the deal was bad, but because it was too good to let anyone else see. The question nobody has publicly answered is which specific Star Wars properties were attached to that Netflix proposal. Which titles, which directors, which timelines were already on the page? And there's another studio, not Disney, not Netflix, that buried something even larger around the same time. That story makes this one look like a press release.